something that no matter what you're going through, and I talk about Viktor Frankl all the time because he was in the concentration camps, and he said no matter what's going on and what they do to my body, they can't touch my soul. And so, you know, when I've recently found myself wishing a terminal illness on myself so that I could just lose everything, I realized what an idiot I would have to be to wish something like that on myself, and I had to start changing my thinking. And so it brought me to a place where I'm focused on what is real and what doesn't get covered up by using anything. So I think that we wanted to touch on addiction, and I think that's going to be the next show, is on addiction, because people can be addicted to anything that doesn't allow them to feel. And whatever you go through so much in your life, be it a sickness or be it something you choose, you become numb or disattached, and then you start wondering where God is, you know, and is God real? And you get turned off with religion and whatever, you know, and then it just comes to the point where you have to really slow down and ask yourself, which is the name of the movie, by the way, you got to ask yourself, what am I putting in the place of me and God? What am I putting in the place of whatever makes me not be trapped within myself and forced to feel something I don't want to feel? Well, number one, you have to feel your feelings. They're just feelings. You won't blow up. That was a lesson I learned a long time ago. And so allowing yourself to feel, even when it hurts like a mother, because it does, you start digging out, where did this come from and why is it like that? And sometimes intellectualizing is, you can't even intellectualize it. Sometimes you just have to be. And being in your own skin, which we talk about with haters, they can't be within their own skin. They're out there trying to hate on people. But honest, humble people that don't judge other people, and they're just struggling, whether it's addiction, they have illnesses, they have family problems, they have been in an accident and they're trapped in their body because their body's now paralyzed or something. I mean, I've seen it all. People who are touched by suicide, which is just supposed to be getting better in our world right now, in our community, and it's getting worse. Over the last month, I've heard of more suicides in our parish than I've heard of in my life in 1 month. So, so where's the problem? What's the problem? And it's pain. I mean, it's inner pain. People are in a lot of pain right now in this world that we live in. And what's the message to help people with that? People are struggling to keep their heads up, and they have the support system of people. Some people are very fortunate. I am one of them. I'm very fortunate to have a great support system. But the ones who don't are the ones who end up in so much pain that they're on the streets, under a bridge somewhere, homeless, or they commit suicide, or they internalize and then they end up with a terminal illness such as cancer or whatever. No matter what, the whole spectrum of things is about, in the beginning, if you're a Bible believer, the first lie ever told in the Bible was by Satan, obviously. And he told Eve, is it true that if you eat from this, that God said you will die? And Eve said, yes, God said that if we eat from this forbidden tree that he commanded us not to eat from, you will positively die. And Satan said, you positively will not die. For God knows that in the day you eat from this tree, you will be like him, knowing good and bad. And then you can rule yourself and not need God. So I'm not trying to be a religious fanatic about this, because it's not about a certain religion. It's about a human being is not designed to live within their own skin without anything outside of themselves. We're just not designed that way. Like the owner, the creator of my car, okay? This car, give me some hail. But if I don't follow that manual, whether I go to a shade tree mechanic, a little small mechanic, or the dealership, if the manual is not followed for this particular car, they're going to get up, okay? And it's the same thing with God and humans. Unless you believe we came from the Big Bang and we evolved from a rock or a monkey or whatever. I mean, who cares? That's not my point. My point is, we need something greater than ourselves, or else we get trapped within ourselves. And being trapped within ourselves is the root of addiction. It's the root of dead cells in our body that turn into something more. It's the root of making bad decisions because you don't know which way to go. It's the root of running people out of your life because you make so many bad decisions that nobody wants to be there because they're afraid. They love you, but they're afraid to be around you because you just poison everything. I mean, there's so many behaviors that manifest from people that are red flags and indications, and that's another story. But I think the next show we're going to do is going to be on addiction, and I need to dig a little bit deeper. But I know when I came on here, I was pretty much at a gutter level in my soul, which is where I need to be, and I'm digging out of it. But for the people that know what happened to me and what I went through in my life, thank you for being there. And for the people that don't, when you read the book, you will know, and you really are not going to believe it. It's quite unbelievable. But thank you for listening. Please share, and YouTube, not everything yet, but YouTube has everything. And Snapchat is always fun. I love Snapchat. And please pray for me. Please continue to pray for me. And whenever I first started going through this, I posted to please pray for me until I ask you or tell you it's done. Well, it's not done. And that's been over a year because my memories keep telling me about that time. So if everybody will just keep praying for me, I would really appreciate that. And please pray for the most recent families that are victims of suicide in our community, because I don't know what in the world, but whenever the sheriff became the sheriff, that's one of the targets of what he's trying to help establish is less suicides in our community. And they're becoming more prevalent. So I don't know what's going on or what he has in line to help prevent that. But they got a what? But whatever's going on, I don't understand that. With whatever the sheriff has in line to help people stop committing suicide or prevent suicide, we all need to jump on that, because suicide has a ripple effect that affects children for generations. One of the reasons the main reason, oh yeah, I love Snapchat. One of the main reasons that, well, of course my kids is one of the main reasons I never committed suicide, my faith, but I've seen it. It's touched my family, and I've seen the ripple effect through not just the children of the suicide person that committed suicide, not just their immediate children, but for tons of people outside of their realm. And it gets talked about. And okay, so they were in a lot of pain, and who knows how that could be prevented. I mean, I really don't have an answer for any of this. I'm just saying that the only thing I know that we could do to help as a community is, number one, worry about your Noah's Ark in your own eye, and don't be getting on other people for the splinter in theirs. Continue to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Number two, judge not. So if that leads you into vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, then that's fine. But on top of that, not just vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, it's love thy neighbor. But it says love thy neighbor as thyself. How the hell are you going to love somebody else when you can't love your own self? And that's the problem. That's the issue. Is people don't love themselves. And this is what I'm talking about. Where I came from in the beginning. Because for whatever reason, for whatever happened to whoever, whenever they came on this planet, all these little traumas, whether they interpreted something their parents said as a negative and that rolled around in their head, whether somebody did something to them, molest them, whether they were abandoned, whether their parents died young, whether they walked out on their children, they got a divorce, they had a bad stepmom, stepdad, whatever. For whatever reason, there's a book called Satan's Children. And it's really hardcore, but it's a great book. And I have always believed that Satan attacks children because it picks them up for the rest of their life. Children spend the rest of their life overcoming their childhoods. And they have all kind of sayings about that, where they talk about children are what they live, and, you know, it's easier to raise a child right than to fix a broken adult and all that. And that is so true. So whenever you talk about these wounded people as adults, you have to look at them like a little wounded child, because that's where it came from. I don't care how shitty they are in an adulthood. I don't care how addicted they are, how nasty they are, how many winks they want to get what they want, how strung out they are. None of that matters. Because if you look at that addicted person, or you look at that person that's in a bad marriage or being abused, or they can't make a good decision for whatever reason in their life about anything, it goes all the way back somewhere. And it is in their childhood. So if you can picture them as a little teeny tiny child and forgive them, because it's really not your business, but if they come into your life and you have to connect with them on any level, you have to look at everybody through the eyes of a parent, pretty much. Unless you hate your children. Then you might not want to do that. You might be slapping them around and stuff. But just saying, through the eyes of a compassionate, loving, if you feel like you're normal, and I mean normal like, you know, compassionate adult, not like normal like, not like me, because I ain't normal all the time, but just saying, if you're an adult and you're a compassionate human being, you have to look at all people like they are a wounded child, because that's what they are, walking around in this meat suit as an adult. They put forth their ego, they act like a bitch, they talk smack, they come at you, they hate, and they get the Facebook police on you. And that's my case. And everything. They talk about you in the community. They are underdeveloped. They are not just underdeveloped, they are wounded. They cannot progress past where they are. So, if you love yourself and you have a good boundary, you can look at somebody else with that pity. You don't let that poo-poo come onto your soul. Easier said than done. Hail to the yes. But if you practice it, you will get it. Eventually, you will get it. You just have to learn and to look at people through the eyes of they are wounded. They are messed up. And it comes from something that happened to them as a child. They were children. They were innocent, no matter what it is. And that sucks. And it's hard to do, because people are mother babes. Haters especially get me in trouble with the Facebook police all the time. But that's cool, because I know I'm not doing anything, you know, I ain't supposed to be doing. But all that said, in order for you to love thy neighbor as thyself, you got to love yourself. So, continue to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Judge not, and leave all that anger to God, because vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And be grateful. Take one day at a time. The show will be going on the road, hopefully in about 6 months or less. 3 months, we are trying to get my truck and my trailer and set up some stuff, but it'll be out of state. And then the book is being put on paper. Not as we speak, because I need a transcriptionist. Hey, boo, that's my my driver. And what I forgot what all it is. The driver, the maybe crawfish boiler, the setup crew, the bodyguard is on the horn, David. I just saw him a while ago too when I got my window. Love y'all. A1 Glass for all your glass needs. Commercial, residential, auto, boom, A1 Glass, Covington, Louisiana. I don't know the phone number, but you can look it up. A1 Glass. So anyway, I just drove up and my kids are surrounding my car like those little, like when you go through a drive-through animal place and you're like, oh, you know, don't let them get me. Well, that's what they're doing. Love y'all. Have a great day.